Welcome to class training for enthusiasts. My name is Osatu Patrick Aigbogun, and we are here to talk about Docker for this session. Yeah, we have just 2 sessions to go, and I know this class is very peculiar because there's so many things we have to start dragging back and front. So many things has been discussed so far. So today we're just going to go a little further into platform as a service, which is Dockerization. So what is a Docker? A Docker is just another layer of virtualization, right? It provides you the environment to manage your applications, the application in a separate environment. So you can have like 20 applications, and those 20 applications will be working as if they are not in the same virtual machine. So it provides the environment for each application to be working separately from themselves. You understand? So that is why it's called containerization, because that environment it creates is like a container. And that container, you can put an application inside and it will be working as if they are in different environments. In our last class, we talked about, before we went into full deployment of virtual machine, we talked about the infrastructure as a code, right? And inside infrastructure as a code, there's a server. In that server, you install an hypervisor. And when you install an hypervisor in your server, you're able to virtualize your machine by creating, maybe, for example, an EC2 instance in AWS or other virtual machines. Now, in these virtual machines, you cannot put your operating system on it, right? When you put an operating system on it, if it's a Linux operating system, what will happen? That virtual machine becomes a Linux VM, right? If it's a Windows operating system, it becomes a Windows VM. Remember, we talked about this. Now, after putting VM operating system, you can start to start putting your application inside, just like the way we illustrate here. After you put your operating system, you can start putting application and you start consuming your application the way you want it. But now, this is where the issue now comes in. Before, if you put your operating system, right? You put your storage, you put your operating system, you can start putting application. But the challenge now comes in that when you do that, any application you want to put inside this VM will come with a lot of baggages. Assuming that this is the application you want to put inside your VM. Maybe this one is a CorelDRAW. So this CorelDRAW that you want to put inside the system, you will have to, it will come with extra things like the payloader. First of all, it will come with a driver that will be able to communicate with your operating system, right? If it's a CorelDRAW, they will ask you which version of CorelDRAW. If it's Linux CorelDRAW, it will come with Linux driver, right? So that when you put this Linux driver, understand? Then it will also come with extra thing called payloader. It will come with another thing called payloader and extra application. Before it will now have the application itself, which is the CorelDRAW. So by the time you had this size, maybe this size would not be like, let's say this size is like 50 megabytes, or maybe 100 megabytes, 100 MB. And this Linux driver you see here now, we have its own 100 megabit, 100 MB. The application now will now have like maybe 50 megabytes. So by the time you will now calculate everything, this, for you to install this application, you will need to have like 250 MB, right? For it to run. You understand? So what Docker help you to do? It help you to zip applications that are similar. So what Docker do, for example, for me to install this Docker into this VM now, right? This OS, so that this Linux, let's assume that I'm going to assume that this is a Linux OS. Linux OS. So, And most times, some operating systems, some application will not just carry only Linux OS. We carry another OS because they need to build it in a way that one application can run in different platforms, right? So it will carry Linux OS. Some of them will still carry some extra OS, maybe Ubuntu, maybe Windows. You understand? We'll carry everything. At the end of the day, that's why you see some application. If you want to install it in your system, to be as high as 700 megabytes. Some application in total will be as high as 700 MB. Some application will be as high as 700 MB. So I'm just trying to make it easy for everybody. To be as like say 700 MB. Some of them is even as high as 2 gigabytes. Some application is like 2 gig. Some of them are 3 gig. Because what makes up that 3 gig is this thing that I just explained. Now, it will carry its payloader, another operating system. So it will not carry the Linux operating system. It will not come with extra demo. Demo means application, those system software that will make this operating system to work. So by the time you now put everything together plus the application, which is like 500 megabytes, so you now install it on here. So, for example, if you want to, maybe this system, this whole system here, it has a storage of maybe 50 gig. And you now install how many 500? Let's make it like 10 gig. You have a 10 gig hard drive and you have 700 megabytes of software. How many of this software will you put inside this place? You have to put like
that's about 7,000 MB. It's about 7 gig.
Maybe 7 gig. If you put 10, it'll be 7 gig. If you put 12, it'll be 7 gig. 12. Maybe if you put 20, you have already crossed it. If you put like 7 times 7, 49. Maybe you have like 47 applications. And the bad thing is that immediately you have Microsoft Word running in this VM, you can no longer put another Microsoft Word. So unless you have to put another version of Microsoft Word. So if you install Microsoft Word in your system, by the time you want to install Microsoft Word again, the system will tell you that you already have Microsoft Word, right? So it has that limit. Can only accommodate one particular application at a time. It comes with extra load for you to install. And to install it, it seems to be easy. You understand? It's not easy, but it has its own complexity. And the storage will not be here. Okay, imagine now what Docker do. Docker will install all this. It will take you only the necessary Linux payloader, Linux demo that you need to install it. You understand me? Then some drivers, only the necessary drivers, it will install it here. So what you will now do, you see, for example, all applications like this, we have this, right? Maybe you want to do Microsoft Word. Maybe you want to do Word. Sorry, let me do this. I want you to give you a graphical explanation. Control D. Now, for example, now you want to do, I'm sorry, let me move this. Yeah, take out here. Let me put this here. Sorry, I think this guy is, let me zip everything again. Good, excuse me. Okay, now put it here. Now, this is 700 megabytes. This is another 700 megabytes. Now, 700 megabytes, 700 megabytes. For example, this one is no longer Microsoft CorelDRAW because you cannot install 2 CorelDRAW in the same application unless you have different versions of the CorelDRAW. Sometimes, if you even install different version, it will update the former one to only have one. So if the CorelDRAW crash, the application is gone. So, for example, maybe you say Google MS Word. I'm just giving you, let's say, Word application, Word, let's say Word, any text editing software. So at the end of the day, you will now realize that you will have more space consumed. Now, what Docker do for you is this. Docker will just install only the little thing that Linux need. Only the little thing that Linux need. Maybe what Linux we need will be like Control C, D. Maybe what Linux we need, what the application we need is just like maybe small. You understand? What this thing, what will help you? Sorry, let me remove this thing here. What Docker will help you do? Let me just go back to a new, let me just go to a new place so that it can be easy for all of us. Good. Let me move this thing here. Control C. From here, control. Move out. Control. Yeah. So, control V. Okay, now. So what this thing will help you do is this. What Docker will help you do, it will just install what you need, the demo you need. Not all of them, not all the operating system. You already understand that, okay, the application, what this application really needs, what this CorelDRAW really needs to work, or what this graphics application really needs to work is just maybe 10 megabyte, 10, because the operating system is already here, right? There's already operating system here. So it will not just carry anything anymore. We just carry the little patch that is required for the application to run. Maybe instead of putting 100 megabytes, it will just take 10 megabytes.
Like since already the operating system is fully Linux, so
Yes.
you just take what that CorelDRAW needs to use to work with that, what Linux needs to work with the CorelDRAW from it, and add to the one that is there already.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you see, so all this payload, everything will be part of the demo, will be part of this demo. So what you will now need is just the application. You can see now, out of 700 megabytes before, now how many megabytes do we have now? 60. You will now have 60 megabytes as against 700 megabytes. So if you are a company, an interesting thing, because the way Docker is being designed, you can install 20 CorelDRAW, the same version, because they are going to be running in different containers. This is the demo. You can put CorelDRAW here. You can put another CorelDRAW here. You can put another CorelDRAW here. You can put another CorelDRAW here. You understand? You can put, so if this CorelDRAW crash, this one will take over. You can use this one. And all of them will be working inside this VM. But all of them, all this CorelDRAW will have to be Linux CorelDRAW only. Because the Docker is a Linux Docker. So you can put as many applications that the storage can accommodate and the compute power can accommodate. You now see the reason why people are using Docker instead of using regular installation. So that is why most companies have adopted Docker. But it's not, what are you saying? Are you not saying that they have to design another application that will be Dockerized? No, it's this same application that you install here. You understand me? This dependency that makes this place that makes this space to be more consuming resources. Those dependencies is going to be installed here, but very minor of it and more of the application. Now,
but the Docker must be inside that operating system first.
Yes.
Before you create the application that you want to install.
Yes. So does that mean that if this application already have Docker, you cannot install regular installation? You can still put regular installation, but those regular installation will not be managed by Docker. But for you to put any application here, it must be a Dockerized application.
Okay, so that means Docker has the application that it accepts, not all applications.
You accept only Docker application. So if you have a regular application, you have to Dockerize it and put it inside this container. So the process of you Dockerizing that application and putting it into your container is what we are going to do now. You understand me? Some places already, there's just the way you have GitHub where you save your source code. There's also a place where you save your Docker code. That place is called Docker Hub. Have you heard of Docker Hub? A Docker Hub, what Docker Hub do for you is that Docker Hub keeps all the applications that's already been Dockerized. You understand me? Docker Hub. So it's application that's already been Dockerized. That means the application that already be converted to Docker application. You understand? It's called Dockerization. So converting of a regular application to a Docker application is called Dockerization, right? You understand? Now that hub is called Docker Hub. The other way you have GitHub. GitHub is for for management of code, while Docker Hub is for management of images. So any application you have converted to Docker is called image, Docker image. So
Mr. Patrick, I want to understand that the Docker that the OS, you install that Docker, right?
Yes.
You install the Docker application. Or how would I call it now? Okay, the Docker application. Then the application that you want to be Dockerized, you see install Docker in it.
No, you don't need to in it. Just what you will now do, you just pick up, for example, this is the CorelDRAW. This is what Dockerization will do. Dockerization will just pick this application that you want to, you just take only this application and it will mix it up with some little dependency and keep it in one side. So it will mix the application. This is what image is. The image is the application and its dependency. The app, let me just use the app so that you don't consume space, plus the operating system that you want to use. You understand? Maybe Linux. To mix it all together. So what you will now do, if you want to use, for example, this is the CorelDRAW we have, right? Let's say the application, example of this application is, I'll just put CorelDRAW here. Let's say CorelDRAW CD. You understand me? This application, CorelDRAW, it has already mixed with little Linux. It will save it somewhere. So if you want to use this thing, you don't need to start building again. You don't need to start doing it again. You just pick it up and put it inside this container. You understand me? So this container will be running. Anytime you start up your Docker will create this environment for you. This Docker containerized environment for you. So if you want to run any of the application, you just pick this application, boom, and zip it in and put it inside this container. Sorry, I'm using the word container. I know the eastern part of Nigeria will like container very well. But so it will now zip it inside this container. So where you save this image, because this becomes an image. Right? Image. Or you can also call it artifact. You understand me? So this becomes an image. So if you want to use any of this image, instead of installing the application, you just go to where you save this image and zip it inside and start it. Then it will be running here. Then people can now consume it at a certain port of the VM. So people will now consume it at a certain port. You know port now, port 80, port of the VM. So if you are using the application, you will not even know that you are actually using a containerized application. You will think you are using the full application that is being deployed, because there is no difference in the UI. There's no difference in the UI. There's no difference in the way it behaves. Just that the only difference is that it can crash, and when it crashes, you understand, it can easily crash because it's not something you can go and edit, right? It can easily crash, but it doesn't really. When it crashes, sometimes it depends on how you design it. It can create another one. When it crashes, you can design it that whenever it crashes, you should zip another one and create another container. So as many as the storage can accommodate, that's the number of containers. So you can have the same app here. You can have the same CD here. You can have the same CD in all of them. You can decide to have 20 CD, 20 container. You can have 20 of it. You understand? Running in the same, at different, they must not be on the same size. They can be of different size, because the container will look at the application, and with the size of the application is what it's going to use to set up a container for you. So you can have CD here, have CD here, have CD here, have CD here, but they will be operating at different ports. That's one thing. All containers have their own specified port. So you cannot have port 80 here, and you have another application port 80. No, because they are going to be using the port of the container. You have port 80, port 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86. You understand me? As long as the port the container can carry. So immediately somebody is using this, it dies. You can use this one. It dies. You can use this. You understand me? So they're going to be high availability. And because the container is not taking more space, you can have more of the application here. You can have 20 applications. For example, before we said it's going to accommodate 8 or 9, 7, Abi. 7 for, okay, let's say 9. 9 is 7 times 9. Okay. No, let's say 7 times 9, 7 times 7, 7 times 10, 7, let's say 7 times 14. Maybe it can accommodate, is it up to 14? Maybe 14. So instead of accommodating 14, with this container now, it can accommodate up to 50. So you can see you now have more space, more application running, and the same VM. And these applications are communicating as if they don't even know themselves. Because this one is just going to be acting as a VM. This will be acting as a VM. This will be acting as a VM. This will be acting as a VM. You understand me? Because they are going to be having all the information that this application needs inside. So this application and this application will not share, not like because you have CorelDRAW here, you have Microsoft Word here, a small version of, unless you say you can design to say, okay, I want this CorelDRAW to talk to this Microsoft Word. So you say, okay, this CorelDRAW is port 80. This Microsoft Word is port 50. You understand? You can say, okay, this one talk to this. Port 80, you open port 80 here, you open port 50 here, so that they can communicate. For example, if you have Microsoft, you have UI, Nginx, port 80, you have database, port, let's say Postgre 5432, you have port 5432, you have port 80, you can say, okay, these two people talk together. And you understand me? You can say this, talk to this, talk to this, talk to this, talk to this. So you have to communicate with them. That's when you compose them together. But in the regular stuff, all of them will work as if they are in a separate environment. So this application is very important, and this part of, and this is what we call Docker application, Docker app. You understand me? This is what we are talking about today. So like the Docker Hub I'm talking about is, for example, now this is a Docker Hub. Let me explain. Open it to you. Just dockerhub.com. Dockerhub.com. See? It's an open source. They also have enterprise version, right? But most times you can sign up for free. I think I have an account here. I have an account. I have a Docker Hub account. You can sign up for free. Sign in. So you are going to create an account. Everybody's going to create an account today. Create an account, and you see images. But do you need to create an account to use all the images? Not really. Just like the way you don't need to create an account in GitHub But for you to use Git on GitHub, you have to zip it in, right? So it's always best for you to have an account in. I think you have to have an account, because if you don't have an account, you'll be limited to use it. Okay, let me open an example of a GitHub account. I already have a GitHub account. You can create your own. Just we create Docker Hub account, dockerhub.com. Sign in. I think it will automatically sign me in. Yeah. Then I think I have my password card. Come on now. This guy, sometimes I have so many accounts. Use this account. Every company I join, they always give me an account. Like those people that will be coming for that class too, they are going to have their own account. Everybody's going to have an account. One of the reasons why I'm even going to say we should be using Bitwarden is because of this. I forget passwords easily, but I've not added this to my Bitwarden. Oh, sorry, I'm using capital letter. Nothing is correct. Excuse me. Okay. I think I will have to add it to my Bitwarden account so that I will not forget. You can see this is a Docker Hub. This Docker Hub is open. I have so many stuff. You can also make something private, make something public. For example, if you want to go to any app, mention any app. Let's say Nginx. You see, this is it. Even AWS also have the account here. Some AWS also have an account here. So this is AWS account. You can see S3 Debo. It's here. Most big companies have here. So if I want to use it, you can see this is the image. If you come here, you'll show you all the image. This is the image. This image is an application. You can see this is how they build it. This is how they build it. And this is how they convert it from regular application to Docker application. And this application is already running, and all you just need to do is just come here and pull it. And pull it inside your container. Like you see what I was trying to explain here. You just pull and use. You understand? All you just need to do is just pull. Sorry, what I just showed you now is this, right? You just put the image into the container and start using it and expose it to the port. If you look at even the way they Dockerize it, they will tell you the port.
I didn't see that. I didn't see how you place it in the container. I saw how you pulled it.
You pull it. You just say Docker pull inside the container. If you pull inside the container, you have to start it. For example, let me make an example. This is my Docker. I have my Docker Hub. This is my Docker engine. Excuse me. This is my Docker. Where's my Docker engine? Docker, where are you? Docker, where are you? I have my Docker engine here.
Mr. Patrick, what I was thinking was that in that the way we set up that AWS, as we set up that VMware in the EC2, which is the VMware, on it we will now install Docker.
Yes. After you set up your system, you can just install Docker.
Okay. So what this one you're doing now?
Which one? The one
is the container.
Is the image. It's not the container. The container, you have to install the container. You understand?
Okay, so you get it from the image and put it inside the container.
Yes, you have to have. Let me show this. You have to install container. Container is just like a normal application, right? A demo. You have to install your demo, a Docker demo.
Under your EC2 now,
or your local system, anyone. If you want the application to be consumed by people, by external people, you put it in a server. That's your EC2. But if you want to be the one to use it, you put it in your local system, right? Remember, I will explain to you the meaning of client and server, right? Now let's go. Let me show you what I was trying to explain. I already have a Docker running in my system, but you are going to install Docker in your system. I'm going to install Docker. I already have Docker. Docker where sometimes you can be hiding. Docker. Oh, my Docker is installed. Oh, okay. I've changed my work environment. So to install Docker is simple. Just come here. If I'm using Mac, it's the simplest way to install Docker is just to say Docker install. But I don't always advise you do that. You say, I'm using Brew. You say Brew. If I say Docker version, you're going to tell me I have Docker already. So Docker command not found. Wow. That means I don't have Docker here. So, okay. To install Docker is simple. This is for Docker for different. Okay. I have Docker in my Ubuntu, right? This is my MacBook. So these are this information will tell you everything about Docker. For example, if I want to install it on CentOS, Ubuntu, right? You use here, you follow here, you install it. Follow it step by step. You can do it. Then if I want to install it on MacBook, install on Mac, I'm using Brew. Let me see, Mac is not here. Mac OS is not here. Okay. For you guys, I will want you to follow.
Mr. Patrick, sorry. This Docker you're opening now is the web, right?
Yes, it's the web. Yes.
Okay.
I'm sending it to the group. Control V. I want to send you a complete class on Docker. Just try and complete that class. You can complete it because not all things, because time is already fast spent. I don't want us to spend more time, but you must know this thing. I'm going to do one more tomorrow. If you can know Docker, know Kubernetes, plus everything you've learned so far in this class, you can get a job. You understand? Everything you've learned so far, plus this, forget. And you know AWS, you know some, come on. AWS, you know many things we've learned since. So to install Docker is easy. This is one I showed you just now is for stuff. So you say install Docker on MacBook, Mac. So this is my own. This is for Mac, right? This is for Windows. For me, I'm installing it on. This is for my Linux, right? This is one I showed you just now. That's for Linux. This is for Mac. So if you have this Linux, I just shared it in the group. I want to share it now. Follow every step. Let me just choose Ubuntu. Most of all, you are using Ubuntu, right?
Yes, I'm using Ubuntu.
Okay, you are using Ubuntu desktop. Okay, follow this step. And install it right away. So when you now install your demo, it will be easy now for you to now start doing Docker pull You understand? Be pulling any image you like. Then maybe tomorrow we'll talk about how to build the image. So you'll not be pulling what people have done. So you can also convert any application that you like and convert it into Docker image. Then you can also pull your own or use it. So when you want to get Docker, you use Docker pull. When you want to start Docker, you use Docker run. So we have Docker pull, Docker run, right? Then we have Docker build. Docker build is when you want to convert your regular application to your Docker application, to your Docker image. You use Docker build. So for image,
can you say that again, please? When you want to pull the Docker.
Docker pull is to pull from repository, is to pull from artifact registry. You don't call it repository, you call it registry. Where you keep Docker files, it's called registry, it's not repository. You understand? You put it Docker registry, then you to start Docker, you say Docker run. Minus P, meaning the port. You mentioned the port. Maybe the first port, P1, is your own system port. While P2 is the port of the container. Then minus D means dynamically, you don't want it to interrupt your system. You understand me? It goes, then we now have the image name. Image name, that's to run the Docker. If you have the image already in your system, then the tag is the version of the image.
Are you going to send what you're saying?
I'm already sending it to you now.
Okay.
I've sent it to stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow and next tomorrow. For today, let's install Docker first, right? Can you go ahead and install Docker? Please follow it step by step. I know you can do it because it's a simple Linux script. And I know you already know Linux script, right? You should be able to install Docker now. Simple, right? Right?
I guess so.
You think so? Try it. You will. So let's go and install Docker. Then if you want to learn many things about Docker, to get started, you come here. This is the official site. So for your side, you want to use Docker Desktop. Docker Desktop is just like a normal UI that you use for your Docker. We have Docker Desktop, we have regular Docker demo. Both of them, just like Docker Desktop, will just provide you Docker that you just be using it like normal. You click, you understand. You also have its own terminal. For example, now me, I'm going to install Docker Desktop first for my stuff. You see, if you want to install Docker Desktop on your Ubuntu, you use here. Let me send it to you for Ubuntu. That's the Docker Desktop. So go ahead and install it. I send it to the group. Meanwhile, I have to install Docker on my Ubuntu. I need Docker too on my own. So I will not be using my system. So Docker with internships, Silicon, Intel, using Intel. So go, yes, this one is easy. Just go straight to my stuff. Here's my image. And then you can just come here. This is downloading. Finish downloading. Just open the application. Boom. You see? Yes, try to get to my application. the total size of 2 gig. You can also install it through terminal. When you are working in the server, you don't use that. You don't install Docker desktop most times in your server. You use this one. You install Docker engine most times in your server. Come here, you can use this one. The best practice to install Docker is using here. Use here. This is the best way.
You need to install. If you want to install Docker on your server, you don't use. I didn't get what you just said.
You don't install Docker desktop on your server. You install Docker demo, Docker engine on your server. And it does not support Windows. You only support Linux. So if you want to use this one. The one you are seeing my screen now. This one, you need to start. Most times it will be running on your stuff. You understand? But for now, you understand what I'm trying to say? So there are two Docker desktop. Docker desktop is just like a regular Docker stuff, the regular UI that you can.
Docker desktop is the one you use for the client, right?
Yes, it's the one it's a regular application. You can see it here. You see Docker desktop. You can see the symbol, like a ship that is every container, right? The ship is the stuff I was talking about, is the demo, while the container on top is the different application you want to run. Yeah, if I'm using Docker desktop, which I'm going to use because I'm using stuff here. So immediately I run it, you can see it's starting my Docker.
You're installing it on the server now.
Me, I'm installing it on my desktop. So you can also do your own install desktop on your system. So that when you are using Docker demo, Docker desktop, before you can do anything, you have to start the Docker engine first, the desktop first, before you can go to your terminal and see it. See, it's starting Docker engine. Because Docker desktop carries both Docker engine and everything. See, automatically it's saying that I have some application already running. This one
okay, if I understand what you're saying, Mr. Patrick. So before even installing of the Docker, it's best you install it as a desktop.
Yes, if you are using it from your local desktop, you install it on some desktop. But if you install it on desktop, for you to know if Docker exists, you have to start your Docker first. You see the way I started the app, I double click the app, my Docker is up. I say Docker version. So if you tell me my version now. Docker. Okay, sorry. I didn't spell it well. Docker version. You can see it's telling me my Docker. Docker is there. And Docker .v. See, tell me the version of the Docker I'm using. Command plus clear. I say Docker version V. Say this is the version I'm using, 24.05. You understand? So if I want to say, okay, what is the Docker do I have in my system? I say Docker PS. Say I don't have any Docker in my system. You understand? Now, if I say, okay, what's the image I have? Docker image ls, list all the image I have. You say these are the images that I have. You understand? I have Postgre, I have Nginx, I have stuff, I have Microsoft WordPress. These are the images that I've already pulled inside my system. You understand? You understand? So if I want to run any application, for example, I want to run this Jenkins. I want to run Jenkins, I will just say Docker run. Now, if I want, let's pull first. If I want to pull any image, let's go and pull. Maybe let's go to Docker Hub. This is a Docker Hub. This is a AWS service. This is S3. Let me use any UI services. Let's use which UI services can we use now? Let's say I want to use SonarQube. Sonar cube. Yeah, this is Sonar Cube. Sonar Cube is used to scan code. Understand me? You need to scan code. So it's telling me for me to use Sonar Cube, this is what I'm going to do. So the images I need to run. So this is how they build it. This is how they build it to become Sonar Cube. So if I say Sonar Cube here, tag the latest. Okay. If I want to use the image, just for me to just say latest. Say, okay. I just come here, just say Sonar Docker pull Sonar Cube. But I don't know the port that is running, but I need to know the default port and it's running. So I can say, okay, here. I can even go to, let me not even bother myself. Let me use the desktop. Let me start with something simple. I come here, can type Sonar Cube. There's no Sonar Cube here. Come here. Yeah, Sonar Cube.
But you cannot just just run it and bind the port.
Eh? That's what I want to do. I want to just say, look at it now. You say, look at the Sonar Cube we have. You say, do I want to just pull it or I want to run the latest? I can say run. What he's doing now, it will just by itself pull it from the stuff and run it for me. It will tell me the port that is running. This is UI. You understand? It's very sweet to use UI, right? But are you saying that you can also create UI? You can create UI for server too. It's an application called Portainer. Have you heard of the word Portainer? Portainer is an application that you can also use as UI to be running your Docker. If you don't want to be using your code, like now, you can say, okay, what's my settings? Say, okay, I'm going to be using port 90, TCP, volume, which part? I don't have any volume. Variables, environmental variables, no variables. So you're going to be running at port, different port. Let's use default settings. So the other, the way you have storage to virtual machine, the same way you also allocate storage. That storage you allocate to engine is called volume. So you can see now with my desktop, waiting for Elasticsearch. It's running. So it's spin up. See what is happening. For my Sonar Cube to be running is setting up the environmental variables of that Sonar Cube and the application. When everything is done, I can see my container here. Say it's running for 2 minutes. See, where is my Sonar Cube? This is for Jenkins. This is Sonar Cube. If I click here, see my Sonar Cube is running, but I did not expose it to any port, right? I'm not exposed it to any port. And I can decide to just go to, I think if I go to my local host, I'm supposed to be able to see it running. But it's best to start it with your environmental variables. Maybe you tag it to port 80. So just, you see how simple as it is.
It's not simple.
Simple.
Mr. Patrick, what I want to suggest, that maybe other classes it's best maybe we'll do for more effective, I don't know, on my own part too, I feel we should do, first of all, you take more of the, you do theory, that's by teaching, and maybe we'll be jotting. Then after, we'll now go into practical. So that when we go back, we can have what to really read on. You understand?
What we always do, today is introduction, right? We're just introducing container name. Let's call it. Don't worry. Today we are just introducing Docker. Tomorrow is when we are going to start practicing more, right? But you have an idea about what Docker is now, right?
But this ones you're doing now, you know, if it's something that you're taking now, you're telling us now, we can be jotting, okay, this is the next first step, second step, you know, we just jot it like that. Oh.
Do that tomorrow. Now I'm exposing it to port 80. If I go to my terminal, don't worry. Tomorrow we're going to be doing more, but just today is just for you to understand what Docker is now, right? If I go to localhost at port 80, I'm supposed to see my Sonar Cube. You see Sonar Cube now? Huh? Sonar Cube is starting. So I can decide to run 20 Sonar Cube. I can decide to run another Sonar Cube again. Transform here, Sonar Cube.
So, Mr. Patrick, now, with what you said earlier, that's on this what you installed now is not on the virtual machine. This is not a VM. You did it on a VM.
I'm installing on top of my system. My system already have on.
You are installing it on the client, right?
Yes, on my client, yes.
So now, so that means we didn't follow that process of having a doc. Or is it the same process? The same process of installing on the server, the same process you install on the client?
Yes, the same process.
So are you saying that you install the Docker daemon?
Yes, it's daemon.
Before you now,
yes.
After the daemon, so you now, what of the application? The application, is it the Sonar?
Yes, the Sonar Cube is the application now. So what I did is the same thing I was explaining to you. Let me go to my stuff. This is my explanation. Where is my, hold on, this is, I'm here now, right? Where is my slide? Hold on, do my slide. This is my slide. Where is the document? This is it. So if you notice what I did, I installed the desktop. I'm using desktop, Docker Daemon desktop, right? Instead of regular demo, those are the Docker engine. So I now went to Docker Hub. That place I typed Sonar Cube just now was a Docker Hub. So I now move Sonar Cube. It's the app that I now drag now. So I now expose it to port 8080.
Okay, sorry, sir. This Docker application is the one that carries that the image.
Yes. The Docker application comes with nothing, does not come with any image, right? So if you are using the desktop, it's very easy. You just come here, you type the application you want to do. If you are using a public image, you understand? You just come here, type the image you want to run. As you can see, when I type it, maybe I want to type on the application. Say type on the application, let's say Jenkins, right? This Jenkins, I want to start Jenkins application. I come here, these are the Jenkins, different type of Jenkins that we have. And I can say, okay, I want to run this one. I can start to pull it without running. I can start to run it using the desktop. I click run, and it will tell me how do I want to run it. You understand? It will ask me now, how do I want to run it? So I want to run it like default. I want to run it with, excuse me. So it's still is loading.
I'm sorry, this question I want to ask may stand somehow. But this, is it on the web that you're typing this Jenkins, or inside that application you just opened.
My desktop, my Docker desktop, is already connected to Docker Hub. So I don't need to go to the site and start searching. You understand me?
But did you download the Docker Hub from the web?
The Docker Hub client. That was the first thing I did now. Hello.
Okay.
Don't be confused. Don't be confused. It's very easy, right? It's very easy. What I did is that you saw me when I was down, when I went to Docker Hub, now I went to desktop. Docker desktop, I downloaded it. This desktop is a UI, it's UI, meaning it's a user interface. So it's already connected to Docker Hub. You can see this application here is already connected to Docker Hub. So everything you see on top here is Docker Hub. It's already connected to the, do I have not signed up? I've not signed in. If I sign in now, if I click sign in, it will automatically go and sign in for me. Cloud enthusiast. Then my password is this. No, I think I've changed it. Let me see. Supposed to be okay. Hold on. So you have to sign into your stuff, to your Docker Hub account.
Okay, so first of all, you downloaded the Docker Hub.
I downloaded the Docker container.
Docker container, which is the desktop.
Yeah, the desktop.
Okay, so then you now downloaded the Docker Hub. That site, that link you gave now.
Yes.
So from that, after downloading that link from that link, then you now went to the desktop to pull what you want to do.
Yes. So what I want you to do now, today, just download the desktop on your system. Can you, what's the time now? We are very fast spent. Okay, we still have some time, few minutes. Do you understand? Do you understand? So first of all, go and install this Docker Hub desktop. Tomorrow we are also going to use the code aspect, but let's use this UI. You can see I have two containers running now. Both of them are SonarQube. One is port 80, one is port 9000. If I go to my local system now, I go to any browser at all. I just come here, click localhost. Let me open it. If you look at it, my system is a bit slow because Docker is really takes power, it takes compute power. So that's why it's best to use a server for it. But if you want to use a local system, it's also good. If I say localhost, port 8080, you see SonarQube there. And if I also go to localhost again, localhost, port, localhost port what? Port 9000. I click. You're going to see an application. It's taking time to load. It takes some time to load because of my stuff. So you're going to see it running without my application. So it's heavy because the application I'm running is their heavy application. SonarQube is not, it's a very high application. So let's go to,
sorry, Mr. Patrick, I'm cutting you. This after when you install, like I'm on that this thing, they say you need to uninstall the tech preview or beta version of desktop for Linux run. So after installing, we have to remove the Docker desktop again.
Don't need to remove the Docker desktop.
Just to install, that's all right.
Just install. So this Docker desktop is just a simple way to run your Docker. It's a simple way. Everything have to be simple, right? It's a simple way to run your Docker. So he said I'm running 2 of my system and I'm using too much of the memory. So let me shut down this. SonarQube is a very heavy application. It's very heavy application. Because it doesn't run alone, it comes with a stack. So I've shut down port 8080. Now let's talk about port 9000. These are the things that I'm going to be doing in our this time. So I'm not going to be explaining like this because everybody there, I will assume that you already know what Docker is. Like you already know what Docker is now, right? So I will not be explaining what is Docker again. So we will be running Docker images, container images, blowing it.
So I've installed it, but I'm supposed to have an image of it, right?
Share your screen.
Okay.
Now let me stop sharing. Come on, I have so many browsers running. I'm just going to close this. So many browsers running.
Okay.
Can you share your screen now?
Facing
You can see.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it now. Have you installed the desktop?
What I did.
Okay. Grown install terminal is already running. Terminal set manually. What did you use to install it?
Yes.
Is that for that's not for desktop? Let me see. Scroll down. Is that for desktop?
Yes.
Go to your left. Go to your left.
I left.
Go up, scroll up. Okay, yes, that's it. So move, you can decide to use this one. Have you installed it now? For no, you already don't need to add this one. This one you just don't need to have it yet. Go up, scroll up.
From the left?
Go to the right. Go to your right, scroll up. Download that depth package.
Yes.
That's for desktop.
Okay.
When you download it, you install it. You can see Docker desktop.
Yes, after downloading this, then I will now do that one on the terminal, right? To install it.
You need to do that on terminal. You just double click it, it will install.
Okay.
That's for Docker desktop. But for Docker, the other Docker, you don't need to do this one. We're going to be doing that tomorrow. I just want you to introduce it in a simple way so that tonight you can be thinking of any application and be deploying as you like. You understand me? Then tomorrow we want to talk about it more. Today, I just want you to.
So after this one, so once I download this one now, once I download this, so I double click, it appears on my
part of applications, yes.
Okay, so then I'll now download the what is it called now? The Docker up, right?
You don't need to download Docker Hub. The desktop is already linked to Docker Hub. So you can just type any image you want to run on your Docker desktop and say run, it will run it for you.
I don't have to go the way you went.
No, you don't have to go there. So you understand that immediately you install this Docker desktop, it's going to install Docker engine in your system and all the dependency you need to run Docker.
Okay.
The minute you finish doing that, you just double click. You just search any image you want. Like I did SonarQube now. You can search any image and just say run. To ask you, do you want to just download or you want to run it? If you say Docker run, it will run everything it takes for that application to be up and running.
Okay. So that's just it. But that's not what you did now. Those long thing.
Just do it, because the first time I did it, you look as if I'm doing a long thing, right? When you do it, you see that it's going to be easy. But if you want to, the other one, I'll also teach you tomorrow how to install it step by step.
Okay.
Most company uses UI. This uses Portainer. They are not really interested in using code. But it's better you understand the code, because if you want to really do DevOps, real DevOps work, you use this code. You use code. But real DevOps work, nobody will look at you using unless you want to, even if you want to build using this thing. Yeah, sometimes some application will not even run. You need to troubleshoot. You see my two SonarQube are seated. So if I want to start, I can click here, start. Then to start.
You can share so that we can see.
No, to install your own. Have you installed it? Finish installing, then if you finish installing, you're going to see, you just click it and start your Docker. Like me now, I already have it. It says my system have 400 core. That even one system alone is using too much of allocation. So you can see my processor is too small to run SonarQube. But if you look at my system at port 80, you see the Docker engine, only this particular application is consuming more than 80% of my system, because I'm using 4 core and the 4 core is already allocated. You understand? And I'm half 100%. This is the CPU usage. This is the memory usage. The memory is still okay. My container image was allocated 3 gig, which is enough. If I go to this port, if I click port now, you're going to see Portainer. This is SonarQube. You can see SonarQube starting. You see, username and password. If I go to that SonarQube site, they will tell you how the username, the default username, and the default password. So it's as easy as that if you want to use the public image. You understand? Don't worry, you're going to enjoy this. You're going to enjoy this. You're going to have fun. You're going to be having fun. It's fun. This is SonarQube. My username and password. I decided to put my username and password here. Okay, now what's the default username and password? I have to get it from SonarQube. I say default username, password, SonarQube. It's on their documentation though. So it said it's called admin and me. So if I go to admin, admin. Oof. You see? Now I can change my old one, which is admin. My new one, which is then I can also put this one here. Okay. Update. Boom. You see the application is running. You see all the stress, you know the stress it takes you to install this application. It's not easy to install this application, but now you see. Because somebody have already built the application, I've Dockerized it. So I can add my Bitbucket to it. I can add GitLab. I can add anything. I can add Azure. I can do it manually. So this is running on my local system, which is SonarQube. If I want to learn how to use SonarQube, this is what I'm going to do. I already have SonarQube. Now, how do you add SonarQube to Bitbucket? You can see set up Bitbucket or set up GitLab or GitHub. You understand? So this as simple as this. So Docker help you to do many things. The demo itself will be the one to be doing many of the things for you. The desktop will be helping you. For example, I want to stop this container. I'll just come here, see the container here. I'll stop. If I go to that port, then it will no longer be available. I want to start Jenkins. Where's Jenkins? I'll come here. Say Jenkins. Select Jenkins. This is where's Jenkins? I type enter. Okay, this is Jenkins. I want to start Jenkins. Start Jenkins. Is running at port 803. If I go to port 803 in my system, if I go to that SonarQube, it will no longer be there. It's a local host port 8001. Enter. Okay, it's not there. Which port is it running on? It's running on 803. Okay, come here. 803. Boom. My Jenkins is up. Put my username and password. Not working. So I have to put my default Jenkins server. But if I don't want to be changing my username and password every time, I don't want to be changing it every time. That's when I will now add the storage. If I add storage, I wouldn't be changing it anytime. Where's my password for Jenkins? There's a custom password for it. I can even go and look for it. Okay, like that. This was when I used to install the first one I did. But the challenge is that when you install Jenkins the first time, they are going to send you the password. Your password is going to be somewhere. I think it's in. Let me not drag this class too much. Let me not drag this class too much.
Yes, can I share my screen so that
Okay, go ahead.
If what I'm doing.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Mr. Patrick, I will join you guys tomorrow.
Eh?
I will join tomorrow.
But you know what we are doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is feeling sleepy.
Close it. Close it. Installation with media Ubuntu Jamie. Installation from CD software. No need. Close this thing. Close it. You should have it running already. It's a system update. If you want to update the system, just close this. I mean, I know. Close it.
I'm not seeing it.
Go to your application. Go to list. Open your application. Open it.
I'm not seeing it. That's fine.
This page.
I'm not seeing it.
If you've not installed it, go to your download.
But it's not installed. It's not.
Go to your download.
This is my download.
That's your Docker desktop. Is that your Docker desktop? open with other open archive. No, you're supposed to unzip. No, that's zip. Yeah. Console it. Is it what you downloaded? Is it completely download? Are you sure you can?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Click that, click it. But if you complete download, you're supposed to have it at .deb.
It's opening here.
Click it. Supposed to give you .deb. Deb means you can install it directly. So it will install. We add it to part of your system.
But when I tried installing, it was saying that this cannot be installed because it has some dependency or something. Okay, see it now. I should install, right?
What it did, right? It went to Ubuntu system, right? And search if there's desktop. You just want to keep your system safe. So this is click install there, click install again. Click it, yeah. Put your password, your desktop password. Then click authenticate. What happened?
Not.
Wait.
Wait, let me move it. I'll see what he's saying.
What is it saying?
Unable to install Docker desktop. The following packages have unmet dependencies.
That are the packages. It's not Ubuntu you are using.
It is.
I think what is wrong with your system is that you need to run some updates. Say sudo apt update. Run it on your system. Sudo apt update. Your system is not up to date. That's why. Enter. Just so many updates that you've not done. When was the last time you run updates?
I don't think I've done that before.
So that is.
Except once, that time we were doing